Padres Postgame Show on the Padres Radio Network. Coming up, we'll deliver a full recap of today's game, including highlights from the biggest moments. We'll take a trip down to the manager's office to hear from Mike Shildt. Plus, we'll bring you scores from around Major League Baseball. The Padres Postgame Show starts now on the Padres Radio Network.
Ball in, 2 strikes. Here's the pitch on the way. Solano swings, hits a ground ball past the dive of Hernandez, down the left field line to win it. Tim scores, Solano walks it off, and the Padres come back from a 5-0 deficit to beat the Dodgers in 10.
This team has no quit in them at all. Down 5-0 in the first. Chip away, tie it in the 9th, win it in the 10th.
The comeback kids were at it again. The Padres come back to beat the LA Dodgers on this Tuesday night at Petco Park. The final score, the Padres 6 and the Dodgers 5. Donovan Solano, the game-winning hit in the bottom half of the 10th inning. The Padres, like you heard Jesse and Tony allude to in the final call, they trailed 5-0 in this game. They chipped away early. They still trailed by 2. Heading into the bottom half of the 9th inning, Manny Machado, Jackson Merrill, a couple of solo home runs in the bottom half of the 9th to tie the game, and then it was Donovan Solano who walks it off with a base hit in a pinch hit appearance in the bottom half of the 10th inning as the Padres do it to the Dodgers once again in walk-off fashion by a final score of 6-5 in 10. Sam Levitt with you inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park. Welcome into our post-game show on the Padres Radio Network. Padres are 58-51. Dodgers dropped to 63-45. And on a day where the Padres made headlines off the field here on trade deadline day, they made additions to their bullpen. Well, the Padres, they gave their fans quite a show. The biggest crowd in the history of Petco Park sees a walk-off win here tonight. And by the way, we will talk all about it, but how about the pitching and the bullpen? Speaking of bullpen, the Padres again trailed 5-0 in this game after a half inning. And guess what? The Padres did not allow another run in the next 9 innings in this game. We will break down each and every aspect of this one. Much more to do. I'll catch my breath. We'll hear from Donovan Solano, tonight's hero. We have all the radio highlights for you. The final in 10 as Donovan Solano walks it off for the Padres. The Padres 6 and the Dodgers 5. More post-game after this. Our postgame show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park as we wrap this one up. What a win for the San Diego Padres as they come back to beat the LA Dodgers 6-5 in 10 innings here tonight in front of more than 47,000 here in downtown San Diego. The biggest crowd in the history of the stadium, and they were treated to quite a ball game, quite an ending, quite a 9th inning, quite a 10th inning, as the Padres win the opener of this mini 2-game series against the Dodgers. The Padres continue to play so well, and again on a day where the Padres made a lot of headlines off the field, well, on the field they continue to show just a ton of fight, a ton of grit, a ton of ability to come back in games, and they were at it once again here today. Sam Levitt with you here inside the loft at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park. We'll hear from Donovan Solano, today's hero, in just a moment. We'll also hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt. But first, let's recap this one from start to finish.
What moments had the biggest impact on today's game? We'll paint you a picture with our game recap on the Padres Radio Network.
Matt Waldron took the mound for the Padres in the top of the first inning. He walked Shohei Ohtani to begin the game. Ohtani stole second. Will Smith singled to send Ohtani to third base. Gavin Lux brought Ohtani home with a sacrifice fly. That made it a 1-0 LA lead. Waldron then got the second out, but he just couldn't get out of the inning. Jason Hayward doubled to put runners on second and third. Andy Pages was next.
1-1. Pages hits it hard on the ground up the middle into center field, base hit. Smith has scored. Hayward's on his way. He's going to score. That's a 2-run single for Andy Pages and a 3-0 Dodger lead in the first.
Dodgers weren't done. Kevin Biggio dug in.
2-2. Biggio swings, hits it in the air deep down the right field line. Peralta back to the corner, looking up, off the pole, a home run, and a 5-0 Dodger lead here in the first.
It was still 5-0 as we went to the bottom half of the second. Tyler Glasnow back to work for the Dodgers. Manny Machado led off.
It was a nice little return over the weekend. Stings this one in the air, deep to center field. Pages is back, looking up, gonna go! Line drive, home run to the right of the palm tree, out in center field. Manny Machado with his 15th of the year, and the Padres are on the board here in the second inning.
Padres then got a 2-out rally going in the third. Luis Ariz hit a double. Jerkson Profar was next.
Profar leans back in the left-handed batter's box, hits this one hard on the ground through the right side, base hit. Ariz rounding third. Hayward unleashes a throw, no chance. RBI single, Jerkson Profar, and now a 5-2 game here in the third.
Padres weren't done in the third as Jake Cronenworth stepped in.
Here's the 1-0. Cronenworth hits it hard over the head of the first baseman Biggio, down the right field line into the corner. Profar is racing towards third base. He is going to be set. The throw comes into Lux. Relay to the plate, not in time. RBI double Jake Cronenworth. And a 2-run game here in the third.
So the Padres were starting to come back. Matt Waldron and the Padres bullpen kept it 5-3 for a while. Waldron was done after 4 innings. Yuki Matsui pitched a 1-2-3 top of the 5th inning. Stephen Kolek worked the scoreless top of the 6th inning. Padres then got 2 on with 2 out against Glasnow in the bottom half of the 6th, but they did not score. Padres bullpen continued to keep it a 2-run deficit. Adrian Morahone got himself in and then out of a bases-loaded jam in the 7th inning. Logan Gillespie pitched a 1-2-3 8th inning with the help of some outstanding catches by Manny Machado and Jackson Merrill. By the way, the defense for the Padres in this game, it was exceptional, and you look back at this thing, that was a big part of this one. Glasnow went 7 innings and allowed just the 3 early runs. Anthony Banda retired the side in order in the bottom half of the 8th inning. It was Jeremiah Estrada who pitched the scoreless top half of the 9th inning, so the Padres bullpen had done their part. They got the game to the bottom half of the 9th inning with the Padres still trailing by only 2, but again, the Padres had not scored a run since the bottom half of the 3rd. It was right-hander Blake Treinen on the mound for LA in the bottom half of the 9th inning. Looking for a save, Manny Machado led off the inning.
A lot of history between these two. First pitch on the way. Machado swings, hits it in the air, deep to left field. Teoscar Hernandez will watch, and it's going to go! A long home run for Machado. His second of the night, and a one-run game in the bottom of the ninth inning. A first pitch home run for Manny Machado.
So Manny's home run pulled the Padres within one. Xander Bogaerts then struck out, but then it was Jackson Merrill who dug in.
Merrill swings, hits it in the air, deep to right field. Pages is back. He is at the wall. It's gonna go!
You better believe it. We were talking about it before the game. This young man enjoys this moment, and he steps into it and owns it. Solo shot has tied this ball game at 5, and it's a new ball game.
What a moment for Jackson Merrill. Ties the game, his 13th home run of the season. A no-doubter to right field. We were knotted at 5. Treinen would get out of the ninth inning with the score still tied 5-5. So what did that mean? We had free baseball here at Petco Park. We went to the 10th inning. Robert Suarez came on, replacing Jeremiah Estrada. Of course, the Dodgers had their automatic runner at second base in Gavin Lux. Suarez proceeded to strike out Teoscar Hernandez. He struck out James Outman. Andy Pages flew out to right. A 1-2-3 top of the 10th inning for Robert Suarez. He got the game to the bottom half of the 10th inning, still tied at 5. The automatic runner for the Padres in the bottom half of the 10th inning as left-hander Alex Vesia came on was Ha-Sung Kim. Kyle Higashioka walked. Then Luis Arraez laid down a sacrifice bunt. It was a good one. Kim went to third, the winning run. Higashioka went to second. Alex Vesia then intentionally walked Jurickson Profar to load the bases. Then Mike Shildt went to pinch hitter Donovan Solano, replacing Jake Cronenworth with the left-hander Alex Vesia on the mound. The count then went to 1-2 on Donovan Solano with the bases loaded, the winning run 90 feet away, and Solano did this.
Ball and 2 strikes. Here's the pitch on the way. Solano swings, hits a ground ball past the dive of Hernandez, down the left field line to win it. Kim scores, Solano walks it off, and the Padres come back from a 5-0 deficit to beat the Dodgers in 10.
This team has no quit in them at all. Down 5-0 in the first. Chip away, tie it in the ninth, win it in the 10th.
As we've seen so many times, especially here at home, the Padres just would not go away. 2 in the 9th inning to tie it. Solano wins it in the 10th. The Padres win it 6-5 in 10 against the LA Dodgers as the Padres improved to 58-51 on the season. Dodgers dropped to 63-45. And the Padres, all of a sudden, 5.5 games out of first place in the National League West. The winning pitcher in this game, very well-deserved win for Robert Suarez, who improves to 6-1. Alex Vesia took the loss. He drops to 1-3. Again, the biggest crowd in the history of this building, 47,559 in the house. For most of the night, the Padres trailed. They did not take their first lead until that walk-off swing by Donovan Solano. What fight and what an ending for the Padres here tonight. I caught up with Donovan Solano on the field right after his walk-off swing.
Donovan, you got down the count 1-2 in that situation. How were you able to win the game?
I mean, I don't try to do too much. I just try to get my bats, especially with the left-handed hitter, left-handed pitcher, and this situation, I just want to knock for make this run for us to try to get a win.
A sold-out crowd here at Petco Park, the biggest crowd in the history of this building. To do this at home, what are your emotions right now?
Oh, I'm high. I'm excited. And, from these fans, it's everything, like especially we against Dodgers, so special moment, best situation, so I'm happy.
This team trailed 5-0 in this game. You battled back to tie it in the 9th inning. How does this team keep finding ways to fight back when they trail?
Man, every pitch, every moment, every inning, we believe we can do it. We believe still we can do it. Repeat your mind, and God help us. I think we got the ability, we got the talent for come back in 6-7 runs. And we got the bullpen. Everything is like coordinated, special year. You see it. and we just enjoyed it. We're happy for all the results.
Donovan, congratulations on a big moment. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much.
That was Donovan Solano right after the game. What a moment for Solano on a number of different levels. Coming off the bench to pinch hit in that situation, that's really tough in and of itself. But keep in mind, Donovan Solano, who before the All-Star break and before Xander Bogaerts came back, was pretty much playing every day and being really good at the plate for this team. Well, because Bogaerts is back and Xander's been great, but Solano's been on the bench, he's not playing very much at all. In fact, before that at-bat, in the 10th inning, Solano, since the second half started, in a span of 9 games, had 6 at-bats, only 1 start. So this is a guy who has not had very many at-bats as of late at all, and the veteran that he is came off the bench and delivered the walk-off swing. We talked about it time and time again on these post-game shows. A lot of questions about Solano and his playing time and him going to the bench and him being so productive. But what I said over and over, not to pat myself on the back, but I'm going to say this again. What you hoped for is what happened tonight, that the Padres would ultimately be a better, deeper team with a guy like Solano coming off the bench, and man, did we see that in that situation here tonight. They had Solano ready, the right-handed batter, to face the left-hander Vesia, and Solano came through. So a huge moment for Donovan. Huge swings in this game for Manny Machado in the 9th inning, his second home run of the game to make it a 1-run affair. Jackson Merrill, a moonshot to right field to tie the game at 5, and the Padres have now won 8 out of their last 9 games. They're 8-2 since the All-Star break, and they beat the LA Dodgers in walk-off fashion once again here at Petco Park. When we come back, we'll hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt. We have a lot to do on our post-game coverage. We have a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard, our daily awards. We'll get to some of your phone calls as well, 833-288-0973. What a night here in downtown San Diego. Padres win it in 10, 6-5 against the LA Dodgers. Our post-game show, and Mike Shildt comes your way after this.
2-2 is popped up, foul ground third base. Manny over towards the Dodger dugout, running out of room, leaning into the dugout, and he made the catch. Manny Machado into enemy territory, and we'll hang a star here at Petco. Out number 2 in the top of the 4th.
Manny Machado, a couple of fine defensive plays in this one. That catch up against the railing of the Dodgers' third base dugout. Manny would make another great play in the 8th inning in foul territory, going down the left field line. Jackson Merrill followed it up with a diving catch. Terrific play in center. And those defensive plays, when all was said and done, in a game where the Padres trailed 5-0, they needed to record every out any way they could to keep themselves in the game, keep it 5-0, keep it 5-1, then 5-3. Man, the defensive plays by the Padres in this one, it proved to be a pretty critical part of this game. As the Padres trailed 5-0, they score 1 in the 2nd, 2 in the 3rd. They get 2 home runs in the 9th inning, couple of solo shots. Manny with the 2nd of the night to cut it to a 1-run game. Jackson Merrill tied it with a home run to make it a 5-5 game. They then load the bases in the bottom half of the 10th inning. Donovan Solano wins it with a walk-off hit, and you can't tell the story of this game without mentioning what the Padres bullpen did in this one. After Matt Waldron went 4 innings in this game, and to his credit, gave up the 5 in the 1st inning. It was a rough opening frame for Matt Waldron, but after that settled in, scoreless 2nd, scoreless 3rd, scoreless 4th inning. How about the Padres bullpen? Yuki Matsui, Stephen Kolek, Adrian Morejon, Logan Gillespie, Jeremiah Estrada, and Robert Suarez combined to throw 6 scoreless innings to keep the Dodger run total at 5 from the 1st inning on. So when you look back at this game in totality, you think about the way the Padres were ultimately able to come back and win it. You cannot tell the story of this comeback win without giving a big tip of the cap to the Padre bullpen. Each of those guys, Matsui, Kolek, Morejon, Gillespie, Estrada, and Suarez, they all have a piece of this win here tonight. Just an excellent win as the Padres continue to play just great baseball, and the comeback kids were at it again in this one against the LA Dodgers here tonight. Sam Levitt with you inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park as we wrap this one up. Let's go downstairs and hear some post-game reaction from the Padres skipper.
Let's pull up a seat in the manager's office and hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt. Presented by Sinley Food. Spice up your culinary life.
Mike, can anything surprise you about this team at this point?
No. I mean, don't take it for granted. You know, we enjoy it, celebrate it, grateful for it. You know, all the good things about heart, dedication to competition, regardless of circumstances, you know, belief in themselves, the greater good. Yeah, this is what fun teams and highly competitive teams and teams with a lot of hunger do, you know, regardless, they just compete.
A lot of heroes to talk about tonight, but We'll start with Donovan Solano. How important has he been to this ball club, and just knowing he's got a pro at bat up there?
Yeah, man, what a team win. Haven't done that with Crony. You know, he's had a great year for us, and he's one of our main guys, but situation just presented itself with, you know, we got a guy over there, and Solano, just a professional at bat on display there. I mean, and then I give Crony a lot of credit. You know, immediately we do it, and, you know, his radar's up for locked in to get the at-bat. Immediately after comes over, it's like, I got it, man. Stood right beside me and cheered his tail off for Donnie, and, you know, he rewarded us with what we expected, a really quality at-bat, and brought it home for us.
Manny and Jackson both with the bat and the defense today. I mean, how impactful were they?
Yeah, you read my notes, Scan. I mean, that was super impactful. I mean, you know, Manny being able to right away, you know, the 5 spot in the first, and Manny being able to put that swing, be like, okay, boom, we're back in it, you know, early on, was huge. Clearly the ball he hit in the 9th was enormous, and then he made a great play, obviously, down the line. That's a tough play. He made it look way easier than it was. That was a tremendous play. Jackson, what do you say? You know, he follows it up, gets a pitching, put a swing on, ties the game, and, you know, to your point also, the defense comes in, makes a way-out play, and, you know, kept him right there.
The bullpen, incredible tonight. everybody getting the job done. I mean, this is sort of a precursor of what you're expecting now that the bullpen's going to be even deeper moving forward, I would imagine.
It's what you can do with deep bullpens. You know, AJ gets credit for all the wins. I get the losses, I think. But, you know, that's an AJ win right there. I mean, you know, look, we're able to – it's a schedule win too, right? Because day off yesterday, we had the ability to go for it. You know, we got the pieces. You know, I applaud everybody in the bullpen to being open to pitching in, you know, whatever the game dictates relative to where we are. You know, if we're playing several in a row, we don't have the luxury of being able to do that. But we have a day off, got another day coming up. You know, Yuki was great. Went and grabbed that fifth. Golick, you know, was able to keep him out there in the sixth, no scoring. And, you know, got to tell you, Morihone was good too. Got through it. Gillespie, underrated eighth, you know, a clean eighth. And Estrada willing to pitch down 2 in the ninth to hold him right there. And again, we can't do that obviously every night, but you have that strong bullpen, and we know we got a couple guys coming tomorrow that are pretty darn good. We're excited about. It sets us up to be able to do what we did today. I always say, you know, really, really good teams have great bullpens that bring it home, be able to hold it when you're down, give you a chance to come back, especially with a club with the heart and the desire to compete like we have. And then when you have your guys that are typically bringing home down, can fill in those slots and get the job done then too. So complete team effort and great ball game.
Kind of piggybacking off of that, how did being able to use Estrada and Morihone when you're down 2, like how did that enable you to help chase the win today?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, again, people are like, why don't you do that every night? You know, we can't. But the schedule allowed that to happen. Day off yesterday, went into the game. We know we're going to day off day after tomorrow. We know Scott's coming tomorrow. Back in guy. Looked at the work usage and felt like, you know, hey, and I think both of them can come back tomorrow. So we knew we had those innings, and we got there. And, you know, once Wally got through the 4th, and he's looking at 81 pitches, top of the lineup with a spot for Yuki, just made sense.
Is it a dynamic too that changes with Lane there, where you can use these guys in closer games when you're down that maybe you weren't before, because they were part of your victory formation for the longest time?
Yeah, no, that's correct. But again, even those guys, I mean, it's going to depend on the schedule. We're not going to pitch those guys down a lot. It's just going to be based on the situation. Tonight, again, situation allowed it. They're rested, day off, reinforcement coming tomorrow, you know, so got Dylan going tomorrow. So, you know, a lot of different things with the day off the following day. It's always going to be situational and availability.
How would you sum up just the entirety of the day? It was obviously a long day, a lot going on early, and for it to kind of end with this after bolstering your roster earlier in the day, how would you sum up kind of the entirety of it all and what it felt like?
Yeah, there's a lot going on today. And so, you know, what I appreciated kind of further in Scan's initial question about this, you know, the special traits of this team, you know, trading deadlines can create a lot of, you know, what's going on. You know, we did lose a teammate that we value in the clubhouse and on the field in Dalo. That was tough, you know, for him, and we wish him all the best over in New York. So you got some emotions with that, some uncertainty, you know, about who's going, who's staying, what are we doing, we did this, we did that. So that can create a distraction is my ultimate point. And teams that are really focused properly handle distractions really well. And that was a good trait for today also.
When did AJ first tell you Tanner was a real possibility?
Pretty much right when it was happening. You know, I mean, I've got my job to do to get prep for the game. So, I mean, I knew we were on the plane last night. I knew that he was definitely a guy that we were targeting, and we talked about that and what a good fit it would be. And I know he was highly interested in him, obviously, of course. So we had the conversation last night, and then today was, you know, his job to go get him and my job to prep for tonight.
I'm just wondering, you don't see many teams with all-star closers at another one at the deadline. What went through your head when he told you?
We got better. I got smarter. Excited to have him. You know, I mean, clearly he's a great talent. You know, Schumacher texted me and ringing endorsement about the talent, but also the competitive spirit and the human. So we got a really good one.
That was Padres manager Mike Shildt after this very, very exciting 6-5 win against the LA Dodgers. Sam Levitt back with you inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park as we wrap this one up. And Mike Shildt is right. There was a lot going on today between the Padres being very active on this trade deadline day, acquiring left-hander Tanner Scott, right-hander Brian Hoeing from the Marlins. That was not the only move the Padres made today. Left-hander Martin Perez acquired from the Pirates, outfielder Brandon Lockridge from the Yankees organization, also coming over to San Diego. Obviously, the biggest deal out of those three and the biggest player out of those three, the left-hander Tanner Scott, who is one of the most electric and just best left-handed relievers in the game right now. And he will join what has become a very formidable Padres bullpen, especially with the additions made in the last couple of days with Jason Adam coming over from Tampa Bay and now Tanner Scott coming over from Miami. We'll talk a little bit more about that, kind of recap the day a little bit later in our post-game show. Again, the Padres win it 6-5 against the Dodgers. Donovan Solano, a walk-off single in the bottom half of the 10th inning. Padres trailed 5-0 in this game. They come back to win it. 1 in the second, 2 in the third, 2 in the ninth inning, and 1 in the 10th inning to walk it off. But like we've alluded to, like Mike Shildt talked a lot about there, you can't tell the story of this game without talking about the bullpen. So with that said, let's tell you about today's relief pitcher of the game.
Which pitcher was able to come in and slam the door shut? It's time for the relief pitcher of the game in support of the Jacobs and Cushman San Diego Food Bank, providing food assistance to local children, families, and seniors in need. To get help or give help, visit SanDiegoFoodBank.org.
Well, the tough part is that you could go a number of different ways with this here tonight because every reliever the Padres brought in through a scoreless inning. All 6 relievers through a scoreless inning. So the bullpen as a whole, they deserve, I would say, a collective award tonight. But you look at Robert Suarez, what he did in the top half of the 10th inning, that is not an easy situation whatsoever. Automatic runner on second base. He faces Teoscar Hernandez, an all-star, strikes him out. Jason Hayward, a good left-handed hitter, strikes him out. Gets Pages to fly out to right. A 1-2-3 top of the 10th inning. The automatic runner on second base doesn't even end up moving from second. I mean, think about that for a second. The automatic runner at second didn't even end up moving from second base. And pardon me, James Outman did pinch hit for Jason Hayward, for Austin Barnes in the 10th inning. So pardon me on that. But anyway, the point still stands. 1-2-3 inning for Robert Suarez. Automatic runner never gets off second base, and it gets us to the bottom half of the 10th inning where the Padres had a chance to win it. So in what was a night and a game full of outstanding work from the Padres bullpen, I think you could argue Robert Suarez had the finest work because it came in that really tough situation, as we know, in those extra innings in 2024 and got this game as a closer. Isn't always going to do, but you hope they can do. He got this game to the bottom half of the inning with the score still tied and gave the Padres an excellent chance to win this game, which they did in the bottom half of the 10th. So Robert Suarez, our relief pitcher of the game. When we come back on our post-game show, we'll take a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard. We'll talk a little bit more about the trades that went down today. We'll sort of recap the trade deadline for the Padres in its totality. So we'll talk a little bit more about that, and we'll also take your phone calls if you want to get them in. If you were here tonight, would love to hear from you. This was the biggest crowd ever in the history of this building, 47,559 in the building, 33rd sellout of the season, and this place was rocking, especially in that bottom half of the 9th inning. I was down on the field when Jackson Merrill tied it with the home run. This place was going nuts, so I'd love to hear from you. Phone number, as always, if you want to chime in, let us know what it felt like to be here tonight, 833-288-0973. Again, the phone number, 833-288-0973 if you want to chime in. Final score in 10, Padres 6, Dodgers 5. Post-game show continues after this from Petco Park. Our post-game show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park. Padres with a big-time win here tonight. Comeback fashion, a game they trailed 5-0 in. They score 1 in the second, 2 in the third, then it stayed 5-3 for a while. Padres scoring 2 in the ninth inning, a Machado home run, a Merrill home run to tie it, and then the final hero tonight, Donovan Solano, walk-off single in the bottom half of the 10th inning as the Padres go on to win it 6-5. We'll get to your phone calls here in a second. Also, a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard coming up in just a little bit. We'll recap the trade deadline, what happened today in its entirety. You probably know all the trades by now. You probably know that the Padres, even though they did get better today, and the bullpen is certainly very formidable, if it wasn't already, certainly with the addition of Tanner Scott and Brian Hoeing. It is even more formidable, but they did have to give up quite a lot to get Scott and Hoeing. We will get into all of it, so if you want to chime in on the trade deadline, on tonight's game, whatever you want to talk about, we're game here on the post-game show as the Padres win it 6-5 against the LA Dodgers. Padres now 58-51. They've won 8 out of their last 9 games, 8-2 since the All-Star break. And don't look now, the Padres are 5.5 games out of first place in the NL West behind the Dodgers. And if you were to win tomorrow, and we're getting a little ahead of ourselves here, but all of a sudden things would be interesting. I don't want to say the Padres would be knocking on the door 4.5 games out, but certainly in striking distance. If you could pick up a win tomorrow, we'll deal with that then. Let's go to the phones. Don in Rancho Bernardo. Don, you lead us off here on the postgame show tonight. How are you?
I'm great. How about you, Sammy?
Doing great, Don.
Oh, that's good to hear. Well, what a game. We were blessed to be at the ballpark tonight. Fantastic atmosphere. You know, for the money, you just can't get a better bang for the buck. And I'm not a sales rep for the Padres, but I'm telling you, just win or lose, it's always fun. But it's even more fun when you beat the Dodgers, right? So, you know, tonight, just there's something very special about this team I'm sensing, Sammy. You know, earlier in the year, they came back. I looked it up when I was waiting to get on the phone here, and they came back to beat the Dodgers. They were losing 7-3, and they came back and won in L.A. And then, of course, we all remember the night that Luis Arraez was started off here, and he had the walk-off in the bottom of the ninth. And that was against our pesky Dodgers, too. So,
Glasnow was on the mound that night, too.
Yeah, there's just something special about this team. They keep battling back, doing it over and over. I thought for sure we were losing this game, like the other 47,000 fans. But they didn't. They battled back, and it shouldn't be surprising at this point, you know. But what a game, what a game, what a game. So fun to be part of this.
Yeah, great win, Don, and appreciate the phone call. Look, we even saw it on Sunday in Baltimore. They trailed that game 6-0. They came back to make it 6-5, and then after they trailed 8-5 in the ninth inning, they got the go-ahead run to the plate, the tying runs on base. Look, it has become the personality of this team, truly. They fight, they claw, they're never out of a game. They've done this a ton of times here at home. And here tonight, you know, look, when it's 5-0 early and Glasnow's on the other side, of course you don't feel great about it. But I'll tell you what, once they got the Machado home run, and then once they got the 2 runs in the third, you know, you felt like they had a real shot to come back and win this game. And then the offense went quiet in the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th. But then they just found a way. The 2 home runs, this team has a flair for the dramatic. They really do, and they were at it again here tonight. It's a great trait to have. They're a fun team. They're a tough team. And, it's got that, you know, at times this year it's had that special feeling about this group. Certainly the way they just have a flair for the dramatic. And, you know, if you want to compare it to last year, it's just a total 180 in what they've done in that department. Let's go to Greg calling in from Chula Vista. Hi, Greg.
Hey, how you doing? We just got back home from the game tonight. I'm not sure what the last caller was talking about, that they thought for sure we were going to win. We were bananas from the second inning in our section, man. It was cheering. It was amazing. We had confidence, and we knew that the Padres eventually were going to come back. We just didn't know how yet. And to watch it happen, I think it might have been the most amazing game we've seen this year.
All right, Greg. Well, glad you enjoyed it. Yeah, glad you enjoyed it for good reason. Appreciate the phone call. Look, with the way they've played, the way they've fought back in games, yeah, it shouldn't be any surprise. It really shouldn't. Again, you can even go back to the Sunday game in Baltimore. They were right in that game after trailing 6-0. They pulled to within 1. You can talk about the Friday in Baltimore when they trailed 2-0, scored 4, then it was tied at 4, then Profar hits the home run. And the thing you love about it, too, is it's different guys. It's not the same guy every night. It's different guys that step up, that have had moments for this team really all year in big spots like Donovan Solano had in the 10th inning tonight. Let's go to Temecula. It's John calling in. Hi, John. You're on the Padres postgame show.
Hi, Sammy Lev. Good to be with you again. It's been a long time. How you doing?
I'm good, John. How are you?
Fantastic. Driving home from the game, I was there tonight. Electric atmosphere. I didn't realize once again that was the largest crowd ever.
Yeah.
So I've been at the last 2 largest crowd ever games, and that was amazing. And it was nice to see 3/4 of the fans are Padre fans, and not all the season ticket holders like myself are selling their Dodger game tickets. And it was amazing. And one of the things that that Don mentioned, there is something special about this club. I don't want to bore you with all the stats we know from last year, but we had all these come-from-ahead losses last year, and we have all these come-from-behind wins this year, and another one-run game that we won, and extra inning game that we won, and all of these bugaboos are slipping away, and we're just winning and winning, so much so that I'm no longer, so concerned with, oh my gosh, how many games over 500 are we? We got to get back, We're doing well. And all the additions today, talking about the trade deadline and all that excitement, combined with the excitement of the Dodgers coming to Petco and us beating them. What a great game. What a great day.
Yeah, good call, John, and appreciate it. And look, they have certainly had the Dodgers' number so far this year. I mean, you think about them splitting the series in Seoul. They were able to win 2 out of 3 in L.A. early in the season, win 2 out of 3 here at home. They've played really well against the Dodgers so far. And I tweeted this out a little bit earlier in the day, but you win these couple of games. You've won tonight. You win tomorrow. You win the season series against these guys, which, again, I don't want to get too over the top. There's still 5.5 games out of the NL West. But, again, if you do win tomorrow, you're 4.5 out, and you would hold the tiebreaker. So it's not nothing. It's not impossible. But they've played very well against the Dodgers this year. And to your point, look, just something as simple as extra innings has been so different this season when you compare it to 2023. What did they start last year in extra innings? Was it 0-11? Was it 0-12? I can't even remember anymore. It was at least 0-11 in extra innings. Well, they're 4-1 in extras this year. So just that alone has been so much better. They have found so many ways to come back. And look, again, when they were down 5-0 in this game and they got some momentum, cut it to 5-1, cut it to 5-3, you really felt like they had a real shot to win it. So, John, glad you enjoyed the game. Let's go to Sergio calling in from Chula Vista. Hi, Sergio.
Hey, Sammy. It's a pleasure to be speaking with you tonight.
Pleasure's mine. Thanks.
Man, I can't imagine hosting the post-game show after a win like this. I'm sure it definitely helps out with staying up late. But, yeah, just driving back home from the game tonight, and just stadium was absolutely rocking. And I think it just goes to show this team has the fight. I mean, just throughout the entire year, I think everyone has a feeling that this team has something special, and just constantly going out, with the fight, even just stemming from this past weekend's game, I think on Sunday, when we're down a few runs and bringing it all the way back to the ninth. I mean, this team is special, and I think with the ads that we made at the deadline, I mean, I think this is the year, man, and I'm excited for the season, and I just hope that we continue rolling, and just, man, this tonight was just something special to be able to be there in person, and just lost for words, honestly.
Yeah, well, hey, glad you enjoyed the game, Sergio, and you always know it was a good night at the ballpark when you're at a loss for words, right? I guess not always. A soul-crushing loss, you could be at a loss for words too, but the good kind, right? When a team has a comeback win and an ending like the Padres had tonight. All right, let's squeeze a couple more in before we do the out-of-town scoreboard. Let's go to Normal Heights. It's Jacob calling in. Hi, Jacob. You're on the Padres postgame show with Sam Levitt. How are you?
Yeah, hey, Sammy. How's it going?
Doing well.
Good to hear from you. Good to speak with you. I had a little bit of a correction, though. We are not knocking on the door of the Dodgers. We are breathing down their necks. We are breathing down their necks, and we are making them scared. I'm telling you right now, they're scared of us. Anyways, that's my call. Thank you, Sammy.
Well, Jacob, I understand your thinking. Look, I'll say this about the Dodgers. They're not a perfect team. I mean, you look at the second half of their lineup. Now, they don't have Freeman right now. They're missing some other guys. But, yeah, I mean, the second half, the bottom half of their lineup, it's not great. And they've got guys struggling. And their bullpen, they've got some weak links in there. Yeah, it's not like an unbeatable group. Again, Padres got a lot of work to do. But you win tomorrow, and again, I don't want to get ahead of myself, but you win tomorrow, and we can start having that conversation about being in striking distance and maybe having a real chance with an improved bullpen, with the addition of Adam, with the addition of Scott, of maybe chasing them down. You know, first things first, Padres got to keep winning, got to keep on focusing on the wild card, but it is not out of the realm of possibility at all, and the Padres continue to play very well against this Dodger team, and it's not a perfect Dodger team at all. It's not. So it's not impossible at all, but you got to keep winning. They got to keep playing the way they're playing right now, the way they've played in the second half. All right, let's squeeze one more in. We'll do the out-of-town scoreboard after this. Let's go to Ocean Beach. It's our friend Gonzo. Hi, Gonzo. How you doing?
Sammy, my boy, how are you doing, dude?
Doing great, Gonzo. Beautiful night at the ballpark. Comeback, walk-off win. Couldn't be better.
Couldn't be better. So I was going to go on a different tangent, but my neighbor literally just walked in and he went to the game. He's from Seattle, and the Padres. He's wearing the Cronenworth hockey jersey right now, and he doesn't think that the radio is on right now. So playing safe.
Let's go, Padres! My new favorite team.
All right, there you go. Well, hope you enjoy that Cronenworth hockey jersey, Gonzo. Appreciate the phone call. That's actually one of the cooler, I think it was a theme night giveaway, theme game ticket giveaway, the Cronenworth hockey jersey. So, Gonzo, good to hear from you. Glad you're excited. All right, a lot of action went on today around the major leagues. Let's recap it with a look at the out-of-town scoreboard.
Let's take a trip around the Bigs and tell you about the scores you need to know in our out-of-town scoreboard. Presented by Jensen Meat, where great taste meets integrity.
We take a look around at the major leagues here tonight. Guardians beat the Tigers 5-0 in Detroit. Jose Ramirez, a home run in that game for Cleveland. Orioles beat the Blue Jays 6-2 in Baltimore. Anthony Santander hit his 31st home run of the season for the O's in that one. Yankees beat the Phillies in 12, 7-6. Jazz Chisholm Jr., his second consecutive multi-home run game, off to a very, very nice start in a Yankee uniform as the Yankees edged by the Phillies 7-6 in 12. Rays beat the Marlins 9-3 in Tampa Bay. Christopher Morel hit a home run in his first game with Tampa Bay. Reds beat the Cubs 6-3 in Cincinnati. Mariners beat the Red Sox 10-6 in Boston. Jorge Polanco, a home run in that game for Seattle. Well, if you missed it, yesterday the Cardinals traded for Tommy Pham. Pham came up with St. Louis. He's back in a Cardinal uniform. And Tommy Pham, in his return to St. Louis, did this.
The 2-2 pitch to Tommy Pham is swung on, and there's a drive. Deep right center field. Way back. It's a grand slam. Welcome back, Tommy Pham. A grand slam pinch home run. How about that?
Tommy Pham, a pinch hit grand slam in his return to St. Louis. Cardinals beat the Rangers 8-1. Braves beat the Brewers 5-1 in Milwaukee. Jared Kelenic a home run in that game for Atlanta. Royals beat the White Sox 4-3 in Chicago. That is the White Sox 15th consecutive loss. You know what? Hold on a second. I think I shorted him one. I think that's number 16, right? Because 14 tied their franchise record. Last night was 15. I think that's 16 in a row. I want to make sure I'm right about this. Yeah, 16. Excuse me. Sorry, White Sox. 16 losses in a row. They're 27-83, the White Sox. My goodness. Pirates beat the Astros 6-2 in Houston. Angels beat the Rockies 10-7 in Anaheim. Joe Adela home run in that game for the Angels. Diamondbacks beat up the Nationals 17-0. 17 runs on 22 hits for Arizona. So it was basically the Cardinals with a couple of touchdowns and a field goal against the Commanders. 17-0. Arizona wins it today. A's beat the Giants 5-2 in San Francisco. Final game we'll tell you about. The Mets and the Twins did battle at Citi Field in New York. Mark Vientos had a big swing.
Delivers to Vientos. Swing and a drive. Well hit to left. Back goes Martin. There it goes. Home run. Mark Vientos. His 15th home run of the year as he launches one over the Great Wall of Flushing to the left of the 358 mark. The Mets are leading by a score of 2-0.
Mark Vientos, the 2-run home run. Those would be the only runs scored in the game. 2-0. The Mets blanked the Twins at Citi Field tonight. Former Padre Sean Manaea was excellent in that game. Manaea throwing 7 scoreless innings, 11 strikeouts for Sean Manaea in that one. So he's put together a nice season in New York. Mets won it 2-0. That was Howie Rose on the call on the Vientos home run for WCBS in New York. John Rooney, by the way, on the call of that FAM Grand Slam on KMOX in St. Louis. Again, the Padres win it here today, 6-5 against the LA Dodgers. We'll step aside. When we come back, we'll hear a couple of the play-by-play calls from Jesse Agler. We'll tell you about our player of the game, our play of the game, as the Padres pick up a very, very nice come-from-behind win against the Dodgers, 6-5 in 10. We wrap up our post-game show. Get you ready for tomorrow on the Padres Radio Network.
1-1 to Hernandez. Kike swings, hits it off the end of the bat into shallow center. Long run, Jackson Merrill dives forward and makes the catch to end the inning. Padres put on a defensive clinic here in the 8th. First it was Machado, and now it's Merrill will hang a star and head to the bottom of the 8th.
Jackson Merrill, before he hit the game-tying home run in the bottom half of the 9th inning, made a stellar catch in center field in the 8th inning to end the frame, keep it a 2-run game. Jackson Merrill, great catch in center. We hung a star on that play. Manny Machado made some tremendous plays in this game as well, and like we alluded to earlier, the defense in this game by the Padres, for a while you wondered if it would sort of go for naught because the Padres were trailing. Well, the defense and the run prevention and allowing the Padres bullpen to continue throwing up zeros, it all played a very big role in this game as the Padres trailed 5-0 early. Dodgers got 5 in the first inning. They did not score again for a span of 9 innings from the 2nd through the 10th. And that gave the Padres enough time to come back, 1 in the 2nd, 2 in the 3rd, 2 in the 9th inning, and 1 in the 10th inning on the Donovan Solano walk-off hit to win it. Sam Levitt with you inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park as we wrap this one up. We'll have our player of the game and our play of the game in just a moment. We'll hear some of the calls from Jesse Agler in case you missed the highlights as well. Before we do that, just to recap the trade deadline from earlier today, and you probably know this by now, but again, just to sort of put a bow on it, and look, if you want my thoughts on the trade deadline and what the Padres got, what they gave up, all of that, this is what I'm going to say. I encourage you to listen to the Padres Roundtable presented by Roundtable Pizza tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. here on 97.3 The Fan. I'll be on that tomorrow alongside Ben Higgins, Craig Elston, Annie Heilbrunn, Chris Sello, Tony Gwynn Jr. Woodsy won't be there, but I will be there tomorrow. I'm filling in tomorrow on the Roundtable. So I'm sure we'll talk plenty about the trades, the deadline as a whole, what the Padres did on Sunday with the trade for Jason Adam, what they did earlier today, the 3 trades they made earlier today. So my point is, listen tomorrow at 10 a.m. if you really want to hear kind of what I think about it all from my mouth. But let's just recap what the Padres got because they, massively improved their bullpen. They did give up a lot to do it. The trades today, Padres got Tanner Scott, one of the best left-handed relievers in the game right now, along with right-hander Brian Hoeing, more of a long man for the Marlins this year, and their bullpen has started a couple of games. They got Scott and Hoeing for the package of Robbie Snelling, left-handed pitching prospect, right-hander Adam Mazur, Graham Pauley, who was with the team for a little bit this year, and minor league infielders Jay Bashirs. The other 2 trades the Padres made, they also acquired outfielder Brandon Lockridge from the Yankees organization. They traded Enyel De Los Santos and minor league pitcher Thomas Balboni Jr. to the Yankees. And then the 3rd trade they made, left-hander Martin Perez was acquired from the Pirates for left-hander Ronaldis Jimenez, a minor league left-hander. So the Padres got a starting pitcher in Perez, who has had an up-and-down year. They got maybe an outfielder that could be on the major league roster. We'll see in Brandon Lockridge, and then obviously Tanner Scott, Brian Hoeing from Miami. So if you want to look at it this way, here was sort of the full trade deadline for the Padres. If you just want to look at additions and subtractions to the organization. So who did they trade for? Who did they add in the last 48 hours or so? Well, they traded for the 2 big relievers, Jason Adam and Tanner Scott, a solid guy potentially in Brian Hoeing, veteran left-handed starting pitcher Martin Perez, and then a guy who was at AAA with the Yankees, Brandon Lockridge, the outfielder. That's who they added. What they traded away in the last few days, it's a lot. It's a ton of ranked prospects and very highly ranked prospects from their minor league system. Right-hander Dylan Lesko, left-hander Robbie Snelling, right-hander Adam Mazur, infielder, outfielder Graham Pauley, outfielder Homer Bush Jr., catcher J.D. Gonzalez, infielder Jay Bashirs, then Enyel De Los Santos, minor league right-hander Thomas Balboni Jr., and a young left-hander in the system, left-hander Ronaldis Jimenez. But again, guys like Lesko, Snelling, Mazur, Pauley, Bush, Gonzalez, Bashirs, Padres, they gave up a lot. And again, we'll talk more about it on the roundtable tomorrow, but I think you also have to focus on what they did get, and certainly it is a bullpen built for October. Padres got to get there, but their bullpen, it is very, very formidable between Scott, Adam, Estrada, Morahone, Suarez. If Yuki Matsui continues to do what he's done, Padres get pitching like they did today out of the bullpen, they'll be in great shape. So we'll talk about it more tomorrow at 10 a.m. Here on the post-game show. We'll continue to just talk about what was an excellent win for the Padres here in this one tonight. Let's tell you about tonight's player of the game.
Which player had the biggest impact on today's game? Let's find out who is today's player of the game. Presented by Valley View Casino and Hotel. Catch every game at Paddy's and Bites. Plus, enjoy $4 beer every Thursday. Visit valleyviewcasino.com today.
A lot of history between these two. First pitch on the way. Machado swings, hits it in the air, deep to left field. Teoscar Hernandez will watch, and it's going to go! A long home run for Machado. His second of the night, and a one-run game in the bottom of the ninth inning. A first pitch home run for Manny Machado.
Manny Machado ambushing Blake Trinan. First pitch he saw in the ninth inning. Manny hits home run at number 16 on the season, his second of the evening, and it was a big one. Pulled the Padres within one. Two batters later, Jackson Merrill tied it with a home run. But again, when you talk about the guy who had an impact on this game, beyond Solano, who had the walk-off swing, beyond all the guys out of the bullpen, beyond even Merrill, who tied the game, look, Manny had 2 home runs. Kind of sparked the offense, got the Padres on the board in the second with his 15th home run of the year, and the 16th home run came in the ninth inning, and Padres ended up tying it. So for that reason, Manny Machado, our player of the game. 2 home runs in this one for Manny, both very, very key in the Padres comeback. Padres were tied with the Dodgers 5-5 in the bottom half of the 10th inning. The base is loaded. 1 out, Donovan Solano against the lefty Alex Vesia. Pinch hit for Jake Cronenworth. Solano at the plate, and Donnie Barrels, as they like to call him, provided our play of the game.
What was the crucial play that determined who came out on top? This is today's play of the game. Presented by Bill Howe Plumbing, Heating, and Air.
Ball and 2 strikes. Here's the pitch on the way. Solano swings, hits a ground ball past the dive of Hernandez, down the left field line to win it. Kim scores, Solano walks it off, and the Padres come back from a 5-0 deficit to beat the Dodgers in 10.
This team has no quit in them at all. Down 5-0 in the first. Chip away, tie it in the ninth, win it in the 10th.
Donovan Solano, the walk-off swing in the bottom half of the 10th inning. The first lead the Padres took in this ball game. Our play of the game. No doubt about it here tonight. Padres trailed 5-0. They come back to win it 6-5 in 10. What a moment for Donovan Solano. We said it earlier, but beyond just Donovan coming off the bench cold, delivering that swing, that is not an easy thing to do. To sit all night on the bench, come off the bench, and deliver in that kind of moment. But when you put it in the context of Donovan Solano having 6 at-bats in 1 start since the All-Star break for a guy that was extremely productive in pretty much a starting role while Xander Bogaerts was on the IL, with that context, for Solano to come up with what he did here tonight and just, as you would expect, give the Padres a professional at-bat, professional approach in that situation, goes back to what we've said many, many times, or I've said many, many times, and that is you hope that Solano coming off the bench would make you a better team, a deeper team, even though he had hurt a little bit to not have Solano playing as much because he had been so productive. But this example here tonight, what he did, that's kind of what we've been talking about, where ideally it makes you a better team to have somebody like him available off the bench, available in that spot to hit for your 3-hitter in Jake Cronenworth, and Solano pinch hit and delivered for our play of the game. All right, looking ahead to tomorrow. Another fun one here at Petco Park. First pitch a little bit earlier tomorrow. Keep that in mind. 5:40 p.m. first pitch. Our Eco Water SoCal Padres pregame show will begin at 4:40. Right-hander Dylan Cease on the mound for the Padres. Left-hander Clayton Kershaw makes his second start of the season for the LA Dodgers as Kershaw returns to Petco Park. Again, Cease for the Padres, Kershaw for LA. 5:40 p.m. first pitch, and our pregame coverage begins from inside the Western Metal Building at 4:40. As always, if you missed any of our post-game show, you can go back and listen to all of it on the Inside San Diego Baseball podcast with Sam Levitt, available on the Odyssey app or wherever you find your podcast. You can also go back on the 97.3 The Fan YouTube channel and check out any of our post-game coverage there as well. Final totals in 10 here tonight for the Padres. 6 runs, 9 hits, no errors. They left on 6. For the Dodgers, 5 runs, 7 hits, no errors. They left on 8. Winning pitcher in this game, Robert Suarez, who improves to 6-1. Suarez threw a 1-2-3 top of the 10th inning. Alex Vesia, who gave up the walk-off hit, drops to 1-3. Time of game, 2 hours, 48 minutes, and the crowd at Petco Park, the largest attendance ever in this building, and the 33rd sellout of 2024, 47,559, the official attendance here at Petco Park. Once again, first pitch tomorrow, 5:40 p.m. Pre-game coverage begins at 4:40. Until then, for our great studio coordinator, Frank Marchese, I'm Sam Levitt saying so long and good night from inside the Western Metal Building. Again, the final score in 10 innings, the San Diego Padres 6 and the Los Angeles Dodgers 5. We'll talk to you tomorrow from Petco Park on the Padres Radio Network. Have a great night, everybody.